Do you want to know what the best gear is now, currently, and coming in the future? I've constructed the ultimate weapon, offhand, and gear guide. I went to the Korean server, translated every single piece of gear, combat power, stats, CP, you name it. I got the information for you guys for every single piece of gear. I'm going to cover it all in this video. If this is your first time in my channel, make sure you check out that description down below for some additional badass Black Desert mobile content. You won't be disappointed. I know you guys are probably like, this dude's crazy, and I am, so if you like crazy, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Before we get into the material, I do want to cover a couple key points here. The first one is that all of the weapons, armor, all the gear on the Korean servers actually have a higher CP. So I'm not sure if they started like that, or if that's just something that Black Desert Mobile introduced down the road to help increase people's combat power. So that's the first thing. As far as the gear goes, if you notice the combat power on the Kazarka and the Dandelion is starting off at 135, and the Liberto is starting off at a 95. The pink gear that we're going to get that's not released is called, now translations might not be 100% on the names here. The first one is Font La, then Belmar, and then the Decatin. They do start off at 100 combat power. They aren't a whole lot higher than the orange ones, and they're not as strong as red. The next one is the Balan there. That does come in at a 162. I'm not 100% sure on the time frames on these. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the pink ones next, then that purple, that dark purple Balan there. Then we have the true Kazarka, Dandelion, and Balans. And those come in at a staggering 320 combat power, so it's just triple everything else. Those are definitely going to come down the road last. And then the three options, the other orange ones at the bottom down there, the Ultimate Liberto, Kazarka, and Dandelion, those are actually orange weapons that are in the game. And with those weapons, I actually looked at the market, and they have the least amount sold, so I'm pretty positive those actually come in after everything else as far as timeline for these. Now, for the gear, I do want you to notice that these do come in, the pink, Font La, Belmar, and the Decaton actually come in with 3 slots instead of 2 slots, so they're going to offer more slots than the orange. The same thing with the Balan, the true Kazarka, Dandelion, and the true Balan as well, and then the orange ones, the Ultimate Liberto, Kazarka, and Dandelion at the bottom. This is the relative pattern you're going to see with all the gear as far as with the names, how much gear is in each. You'll notice a pattern with that, and then you'll notice with the pink ones as well. So that's a little bit of a sneak peek at what is coming. I will give you guys a little bit more of that info later on in the video. I do want to cover the gear that is currently out. What's the best gear? What offers the highest CP, whether it's red, orange, and yellow. I do cover each set as well. So I do cover the Colossus, Morig, Zareth, Shamir, Azirian, Toritas, and the Gruntle. And I do cover where you can farm it at, how you can upgrade it with the 1 slot and the 2 slot. I cover everything in this video. This will be considered my ultimate gear guide, so I hope you guys enjoy. With that being said, let's dive right in. So I'm going to rapid fire through these sets. All of the armor does give defense power. I am going to only talk about the max benefits. So for the Ultimate Colossus, the max benefits, if you rocked all 4 pieces of armor at max level plus 40, is 702 defense power. You get 4 crystal slots. It does give 4% crit, attack, and movement speed, and then plus 20 MP, mana, and 2% magic regen. These sets are starting off from weakest to strongest, and I am only focusing on the orange sets. Up next is the Ultimate Morig with its max benefits at 710 defense power, 4 crystal slots. You do get mana MP plus 30, 5% magic regen, and MP regeneration of plus 2. So this is definitely a lot higher on the magic regen, and it doesn't give you any crit, attack speed, or movement speed benefits. Ultimate Shamir sets come with negative stat bonuses, but offer the highest combat power. So it's giving you 718 plus combat power, 4 crystal slots still, negative 2% crit, negative 3% move, negative 2% attack speed, negative 20 mana, and negative 2% magic regen. This is typically one of the more popular sets simply because it does offer a higher combat power, and you can make up for the stat losses, whether it's through crystals, lightstones, or other areas. The first 2 slot set of orange gear is the Ultimate Zareth. The benefits of the Zareth is actually at a lower defense power than the Shamir at 714 instead of 718. However, it's giving you 8 crystal slots instead of 4, and obviously you can get 7, 8, 9 plus combat power through your crystal slots. For its substats, you do get 4% crit, attack, and movement speed, plus 20 mana, and plus 2% magic regen. The Ultimate Azarian is the Mo-Rig equivalent for 2 slots. It is giving max benefit of 722 defense power. It does give 8 crystal slots as well. It's given mana MP at plus 30, magic regen of 5%, and MP regeneration at plus 2. So it's exactly similar to the Mo-Rig, except for it's giving 4 crystal slots and a little bit more defense power. The Ultimate Toritas is similar to the Shamir for 2 slots. It's given 730 defensive power. It is offering 8 crystal slots instead of 4. It's given negative 2% crit, negative 3% movement speed, negative 2% attack speed. You do get mana MP at negative 20 and negative 2% on magic regen. So again, it's the exact same stats as the Shamir, offering higher defense power and additional 4 more crystal slots. The Ultimate Gruntle is the bread and butter for orange gear. This is the gear that everybody wants to have and everybody's going for. It is given 753 defensive power. It's given 8 crystal slots, and it's giving you 4% crit, attack, and movement speed, plus 20 MP, and 2% magic regen. Alright, up next, let's talk about where you can currently farm all of this gear. For the gloves, there's only one area to farm. I searched up and down, North Media, South Media, there's nowhere, only the Kron Castle areas. Any of the Kron Castle areas does work, so if you're trying to grind for experience, I recommend Kron Underwater. If you're a little lower level, you can get away with Kron Castle or Patrol. But that's the only place to farm gloves, so if you need gloves, you're going to have to go to Kron Underwater. For helmets, it's South Medea is Marnie's, either of them, Underground or Marnie's facility. It's either Soldier's Graves or Soldier's Graves Depths, and then either Hasra Ruins Entrance or Hasra Ruins Regular. For North Medea, you obviously have all 3 of the Helms areas, whether it's Outpost, Highlands, or Cave. For the boots, you have South Medea, you have both of the Wandering Rogues locations, and in North Medea you have either of the 3 Elric's locations, including Canyon of Corruption, Elric Shrine, and Elric Canyon. For your chest piece, you have South Medea, you have both of the mains locations, and for North Medea, you have all 3 of the Schultz locations. Alright, so that's where you can farm the gear, which is great, and if you happen to get a Gruntle piece of gear, congratulations. However, for most of us out there, you're going to have to craft the gear, and in order to craft the gear, you need 3 1-slot oranges to make 1 2-slot orange. So you could either make the Azarian, the Toritas, whatever 2-slot orange you want, except for the Gruntles or the Libertos or the Razars. Now, if you get 3 2-slot oranges, you can make 1 Gruntle 2-slot Gruntle. You do need magic residue to craft. You can collect 3 pieces of gear from farming, Shakatu, and or combining in the blacksmith at the camp. So that's the only way you can do it. You can do it through the blacksmith at the camp. Once you have 3 helmets or chest pieces or whatever it is, you can go right there, plug them in. If you have enough magic residue, it'll let you select the piece of armor that you want. So make sure you select depending on your class accordingly. And that is how you can upgrade your gear after you've gotten at least 3 1-slot oranges. 2 tips for this section. You can actually use weapons from other classes to craft for a 2-slot for your class. So if you ascend a giant or a titan and you get the main and offhand weapon, but you're trying to use it for your huntress, you can actually use those to upgrade your huntress's weapons. The second tip is if you can't transfer over crystals, you can't transfer over enhancements. You can't transfer over enchants. You can transfer over the enhancement though. So if it's plus 35, that will transfer over. However, the enchants and the crystals below it will not transfer over. Let's take a look at which set combo offers the highest combat power. Now, I already went over these as I was doing them. I did not include the yellows. You can see them there. That Dobert is actually giving you higher CP than the Gruntle, but it's giving you negative stats similar to the Shamir and the Toritas. So the Toritas and the Shamir are the negative stat 2 pieces there. However, they're given a 730 and 713 combat power, while the Zareth is given 719 and 722, and the Colossus and the Mowry are given 702 and 710. So that's just a little glimpse so you guys can see. The game is built around combat power a lot, and the stats you can just plug in elsewhere, so you guys can get a good idea what you want to go for. Alright, so that's all the current gear. Let's take a look back at what is coming. So the weapons that are coming, we have the Font La, the Belmar, the Decathlon, the pink gear there. It's coming in at 454 at level 40. Now, I do know that there's another extension to upgrading these weapons. I just stopped at level 40. You have the Balan there, that dark purple one at 558. The true weapons there at 835, and then those other orange ones that do come, I think later on after everything else, they are given a little bit higher CP than the current gear, but they're given 3 crystal slots, as you can see over the right. You can also see the benefits in the middle. I'm not going to cover each one of those for the weapons. For the offhand, it's very similar again with the pinks. We have those 3 Fanla, Belmar, and Decatin. We have that 1 dark purple Balan. Now, the purples is strictly dependent upon the reds. That's why there's only 2 purples in this one. So the true Nuver and the true Balan, that there's only 2 purples here because there was only 2 reds. And so you'll see that for the armor and the shoes and gloves, there's going to be a lot more options there because there was more. Same thing with the orange ones down below, the Ultimate Razor and the Nuver as well. All right, let's take a peek at the new helmets that are coming. So the first 3 is, again, the same pink ones, the Fanla, the Belmar, and the Decatin, with a total CP defense power of, at level 40 at 220. They do also vary. One gives 4 attack speed, 4 movement speed, and then 4% crit, and they do give 3 crystal slots. The new red piece of gear is the Lok Shan. I believe that is the next red piece of gear that is coming. The Lok Shan and the Balan are only 2 slots. And then the true Geoth, Geyser, Schultz, Lok Shan, and the true Balan down there are given a 384 defensive power. So it's 124 higher than the reds and 164 higher than those pinks. And they are varying in benefits. They do give 3 crystal slots. And then there's those 3 orange ones at the bottom down there. Again, those are, I believe, the last ones that do come in. And those are also giving 3 crystal slots. For the armor, we do have a lot of variety as well. We have the 3 similar ones again at the top. We do get a new red one. I believe it's the Noor as well. Those 2 only give 2 crystal slots again. We have the 4 pink ones, the super strong ones again with the true, the red nose, the true Schultz, the Noir, and the Balan. And then we have the 2 orange ones. There's, I believe it's called Gruntle. I believe it has the same name, and it's just the version 2, but it does come with 3 crystal slots as well. That is the armor. The shoes and the gloves are going to be the same as far as what the names are for the gear and the combat power and the stats and everything. So I just combined them together. Same names. There is the Lok Shan and the Balan again for the shoes and the gloves. There is the true bags, Noors, the Geyser, Lok Shan, and the Balan for the true ones down there again, and then the orange ones at the bottom. I do want to note that the blacksmith, having that leveled up, especially for your gear, is very important. You do have the ability to level up your gear just like we have now for the oranges. You will have the ability to level that up through the pinks and then the purples down the road. So I would definitely recommend always keeping gear, never selling gear, whether it's gloves, shoes, whatever the case may be. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want full access to my end-all be-all document, you can find that in my Patreon in the link down below. That covers everything as far as what the gear is currently and the gear to come. I hope you guys enjoyed, and with that being said, I will see you next time.